Hi and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about a problem that's actually kind of common, whether it's on tiles on the floor, tiles in your bathroom tub, tiles in an enclosure such as this one behind me right here. What happens is the grout joints start to crack after a period of time and the grout starts to come out. If you don't put that grout back in there, of course water is going to get behind the tile, and water over a period of time on the tile is going to loosen up the glue, and the tiles are going to wind up falling off of the wall or buckling on the floor or whatever. So what I'm going to show you in this video is how to correct a small problem now, but a very large problem down the road. So just grab a couple of tools. We're going to need a little file to clean out the tile joint, a pointy screwdriver, a very small, anything you can get into the tile joint. Now they do make tools that you can buy in the store, such as this to clean out the tile joints. They also make a tool to get in there that is actually air powered or works in your drill, and it cleans out the joint too. But in this case here we have a small section that we need to do, and a small section that doesn't really pay to get in there with any power tools. It can be cleaned out very easily with something like this. It works really well. All right, so we're going to get in there. I'm going to show you how to clean the joint out, how to mix the grout, and then how to install it, and then finally to clean it off to get a finished product. Now after everything is finished, a day or two later after the tile dries, the grout dries I should say, you will need to put a sealer such as this on that joint, because even though the grout is water resistant, it's not waterproof. By putting on that sealer, it makes the joint watertight so that water will not get into that joint and get behind the tile in the future. So very simple, all of about 20 minutes depending on the size of the job. This one is only about 2 feet. 2 feet in the area that's cracked. The rest of it is in perfect condition. So what we're going to do is just do that 2-foot area. It'll go real quick and be done. All right. Anybody has any questions, want to talk to me about anything, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody. All right, so enough talking. Let's get in there and let's get this job started, cleaned out, sealed, and finished, and out the door and on to the next. All right, come on, let's get started and I'll show you how it's going to go. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you have a crack in the tile. You see how it has this little joint right here, and you have a little crack inside here. You want to scratch this all out of here before water gets into it. Once water gets into it, it's actually going to weaken the tile, and the tile's going to wind up coming off the wall. So if you catch it early like this, you can just change just the grout joint right in here. You just come in here with a tool like this. Now you have to remember, you have to put paper down on the floor because you don't want that grout going down into the drain. Okay, and once you've got this joint all cleaned out like this, then we're going to get the correct grout to put back in here. So let me get the grout. Now there's different kind of grouts that you need to know. One is sanded and one is non-sanded. So make sure you get the right one for inside the shower stall or wherever you're doing your particular job. All right, so let's grab the grout. Let's mix it up and let's finish this job off. Okay, so now we're going to mix up the grout. Depending on how much you need, for how big of a job you're actually working on. What I normally do is I just take a little cup or something like this and just put a little bit of grout into it. And then we'll fill this up a little bit, we'll mix it with water, and then we'll get the consistency that we need. Okay, so now we have to mix the grout up to not too thin, because you don't want it to run all over the place. You want to mix it so it's fairly thick, just like that. All right? What I always find the best way to get it in there is you can use a spackle knife to get it in there, or they actually make a tool that you can use it to push it in there as well. It's like a squeegee like this. You would actually work it back in like that to get it back in there. I usually use a spackle knife because it works very, very well. Just make sure when you put it in that you push it into the joints. You want to make sure to fill up the entire joint. so that the spackle goes in, just like that. Don't worry about the excess on the outside right now. This will fill in nicely into the joint. All right, now of course you have something on the floor so you're not making too much of a mess in the area you're working. Just make sure that the grout gets pushed all the way in to the joint so that it seals in the joint really well. And now what we're going to do is we're going to wipe off the excess that's on here right now. Not in the joint, but on the side on the tile. We don't need the grout on that portion of it, so we're just going to take it away. Just like that. Okay, now we're just going to let this sit for about 10-15 minutes to dry out. Let the water come out of it a little bit. We're just going to clean it up a little bit like this just to get the excess grout out. And you can see already it's looking pretty nice as compared to the rest of the grout joints. Everything looks really good. So we're going to clean it up a little bit like this now. We're going to let it sit for a couple of minutes. Okay, I'll bring you in there. I'll show you what it looks like. See? It actually cleaned up. It filled in really well, all the way from down onto the bottom, all the way up to the top. Now as you can see, it doesn't quite match in exactly to the other grout, but we're going to come back and we're going to clean this up with a damp cloth or a sponge, and it'll match in there perfectly. So let's let this sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so now after the joint is all dried off now, you can get in here with a sponge, such as this, and wipe it down and clean it up, or you can use any kind of a cloth that you have. This is such a small area. All you need to do is just to get a damp cloth or paper towel, whatever you have, and just wipe that area just to clean off any of the extra grout that you may have in there. Let's move you into a different location here. And you can see right in there how it's starting to blend right in. See? You just clean this up a little bit, and you take off any of that grout that's on there. It's very, very little grout that's, we did a nice job cleaning it up before, so now there's a lot less work to be done. You can see how it's coming out. Now you may notice it's a little bit different color than the tile grout that's there right now, but that's normal because the grout itself is wet. But I do know that it's white, so we know it's going to be perfect. So we're going to make sure all of the cross areas here, see these cross areas, make sure that these are all even and cleaned out. Any areas that may be a little bit imperfect, you can run your finger over it just to seal it in there so it's a nice seal. That's it. All right, so we just wipe it away one more time. And that's it. Now as you can see, you can't tell the difference between this joint here and the joint that we just put in here. Now you can see the color difference, but it is going to dry white, just so you know, so you won't have to worry about it. It'll match up perfectly. And then after it dries out in a day or two, we'll come back and we're just going to paint that sealant on there with a paintbrush. It's absolutely perfect, matches right in with the other grout joints, no problem whatsoever. Now, I do want to point this out. Any of this grout that you scratched out of there, that's actually cement. So you really don't see all that debris there. You don't want to let that go down the drain. You want to make sure that you clean that up with a wet paper towel so it doesn't wind up down in your drains. All right, that's it. Any questions? You can send me an email. I'll talk to anybody about anything. Thanks for watching.